kind of almost like a book report, right, of like my passion and putting into my music. And for me, the process of self-betterment has definitely been through hip-hop. So everything I've attained, all the confidence that I have, this is all fake. I said it to you before, like it's kind of code switching, but I mean, the confidence is fake. Like it's not fake anymore, but it comes through hip-hop. I had no confidence as an educator, academic, a mathematician. I was made fun of when I was a young kid for being bad at math. The confidence has all come through hip-hop. So it's the superhero theme. Like the superhero is Professor Lyrical, Peter Michael Plourde is Clark Kent. You know what I mean? So, just bringing them together. Here's Henry. Let me talk to you about Henry real quickly. And if you want, maybe I can give you something else too. It's a little bit more.
Are you going to use the mic?
Sure. Oh, wow, sir.
Yes. Let me try to define masculine. That's pushing my baby's carriage a quarter to four to the corner store to try to buy child aspirin. Afterwards, giving it back to him, not only when mommy is traveling, but part of my everyday song and dance. I'm loving the chance to splash with him. Beatbox and I rap with him. Counting and doing math with him. I tackle him like most dads, but really love him whenever I nap with him. Going to music class with him. But my greatest satisfaction is perhaps just looking after him. Putting myself after him. Knowing that I was inadequate before him, sort of an average version of a person living his life with little purpose. Not doing it all on purpose or saying I ever felt worthless. Just wasn't aware of what it really meant to be living a life of service. Cause now I'm more compassionate, more concerned and activist. Before I go to war for the cause, but now I'm much more pacifist. Cause what has happened is, now that I am a parent, things that I never saw before are now much more apparent. From Henry. Thanks, guys. I know you guys, if you gotta be like going and grabbing a lunch, but I'll leave you with this last thought. One of the things I was hired for Emerson College to do a few years ago, 2014, it was kind of like a book report. And they were like, hey, use hip hop and come on in and do a piece about social justice for the civil rights movement. It was celebrating 50 years. And I literally wrote the piece the night before because I was so busy and I didn't have time. And they're like, hey, use something that you've done. We've heard some of the things you've done, or just write something custom. Something that I've written and that I've done many times since, and it really touches on education and higher ed and K through 12. Starts like this, and I'll give it to you as you guys are getting out of here. It goes like this. Keep in mind the context. First, let us remember, it is not possible to have an appreciation for the amalgamation of civil rights legislation and outcomes without first pausing to remember the assassination of black leaders like Martin and Malcolm. Now, son, please do not, and this mic is a little tough because of the echo, so I'm just going to go.
Please do not confuse my passion for African American activism as passivism for when I witnessed the division in classes and passing kids at the cafeteria table split up more painful than sadomasochism. Listen, if Brown v. Board of Education put an end to segregation, then how come I see no brown-skinned faces sitting at this table right here with Megan? Face it. You have locked yours at one time or another when a brother from a different color has approached your door. Even though it's not 1954 no more, sometimes we... Even though it's not 1954 no more, sometimes we... Even though it's not 1954 no more, sometimes it sure feels like only a few years before 64. For sure. Yeah, we made improvements, but we got further to go until I no longer need to be proved my baby boy might grow up just like Emmett Till. Still, I have to teach him stand his ground for all these racists might attempt to make him turn it down like Jordan Davis. And these are just the faces on the news that never famous, but for every Trayvon Martin, there's 100 unsolved cases. Mass incarceration never places the plantations, boatloads of African Americans like slave ships. So thanks, Miss Alexander, but we got much worse than before, because now they literally making billions on the job for Unicorn. Dressed in uniforms. Be sure that these federal institutions, civil rights are well denied by this legal prostitution. So what's the solution? I say let's start with college presidents. The ivory tower needs more melanin, more estrogen, more feminine. And just in case you might have confused me for the new version of Eminem, in case you might have confused me of the new version of some Eminem, I will have never candy coded what would be the benefit. I've never candy coded up my message. I said, what would be the benefit? Because that would be irrelevant in a time when not intelligent Lyrics of rap music is what they peddling as the precedent, suppressing the positive messages of the original 4 elements that's hip-hop as a culture now subjected to their sentiments. Well, I am here self-evident, no cursing, non-repetitive, and instead of just battling rappers, well, these days I'd rather mentor them. Against all these impediments and prejudice, Confederates flagged, they flew with pride as they tried to produce evidence of race superiority through the majority of schools. They tried to civilize the natives and prove Africans were fools. See, universities were tools for them racist spewing madness. But before them land-grant colleges, well, there was nothing much for blackness. I said before Barack Obama, there was nothing much for blackness. And until he caught Osama, well, there was not much like the basket. But now he got me asking, who's accountable at the moment? For human rights, it's unacceptable, Guantanamo's still open. Still, he got me hoping civil rights are not ignored. Sure, 1010 is not the answer, but at least the minimum is now more. So what do we have in store for all these kids from urban areas where separate is not equal, but the schools are still inferior? See, the barrier to becoming a scientist or a college mathematician is when kids are passing calculus but cannot do addition. See, when I was young in school, I used to listen to New Edition. I was like, can you stand the rain? Yeah, I wanted to be just like them. But if they told me, I'd have listened. So where are the role models? Where are the actors, the models, producers from tomorrow? Show our scholars that there's honor in a way to clap them dollars. Beyond just popping collars and beyond just popping bottles. Beyond Beyonce on a surfboard, there's more to work for than McDonald's. See, we can solve our problems with a different point of view. More diversity, our scientists are way too far and few. So who will be inspiring the future generation? You're gonna like this one. Respecting education starts with teachers, how we pay them. Hey. So let's pay some attention and keep up the vigil fight so our health and wealth posterity is not a blemish on civil rights. Your turn.